Example, percent problems number 1. Part A, calculate 83.1% of 250. In order to calculate this, we need to remember that part equals percent times total. So we have a percent and a total. So our part that we're concerned about would be equal to 0.831 times 250. But wait, where did 0.831 come from? Well, remember that 83.1% is 83.1 divided by 100, which is where I got that value from. Or you could see this as moving the decimal 2 places, 83.1 being 0.831. In either case, when we multiply 0.831 times 250, we will get the value, the part that we're looking for, which is 207.75. Part B, find 22% of 42. So once again, we find ourselves looking at the part, or trying to find the part, where we have the percentage and the total. 22% and 42 is the total. So to calculate the part, we'll take 22 divided by 100 times 42. I'm just going to leave that exactly like it is. 22 divided by 100 times 42 is equal to 9.24. And so that is 22% of 42. Part C, determine 70% of 3,500. Again, we have a percentage, 70%, and a total, we have of 3,500. That is our total. And so we can convert 70% to be 70 divided by 100 times 3,500. We'll find out what that equals. That is equal to 2,450. And so that is the value that is 70% of 3,500. Example, percent problems number 2. What is 23% of 45 for part A? What is 23% of 45? Well, again, we're thinking part equals percent times total. We have the percent, we have the total. So we'll take 23 divided by 100 multiplied by 45. That will give us our part from our equation. And that value is 10.35. Part B, what percent of 32 is 24? What percent of 32 is 24? This is different. So I'm going to go ahead and write our formula again. It's part equals percent times total. In this question, we want to know the percentage, but we know the total and the part. If we rearrange this formula, we can say that the part divided by the total will be equal to the percent. And so in this question, we see that 32 is the total. What percentage of 32 is 24? So 32 is the total, and 24 is the part. So that our percent is equal to 24 divided by 32. And because that's going to give us a decimal, we will also need to multiply this by 100. So I'll say 24 divided by 32 times 100%. And that would be 75% if we do that calculation. Example, percent problems number 3. Part A. A farmer plants 75 tomato plants and 35% germinate. Find how many plants germinate. Round to the nearest whole number. So in this context, we know that there are a total of 75 tomato plants. I'm going to label that as total, 75. And we have a percentage. We're told 35% germinate. The number that germinate is going to be a part of that whole. And so that leads us to using the same formula. We will say the part equals the percentage times the whole, or the total. Which means the part will be equal to 35 divided by 100 times 75. So now let's just calculate that. 35 divided by 100 times 75. 26.25. Now this is why the question asks us to round to the nearest whole number. So 26.25 is closer to 26 than it is to 27, and so this would round to be 27 plants. Germinate. Part B. A poll was conducted from 450 residents, and 240 supported a city tax to fund a new high school, and the remainder opposed. What percent supported the tax? So we read this again carefully and realize that 450 is the total. That's all of the residents. And that the part we're given is 240 that supported. We want to know the percentage, so using what I did on a previous problem, the percent is equal to the part divided by the total times 100%. So we have 240 divided by 450 times 100%. So if we do this calculation, 240 divided by 450 times 100, this would be 53.3%. I'm going to go ahead and put a bar over the decimal, 53.3 with an over bar, percent, because that is exactly what percent, 53.3 repeating percent. Example, percent problems number 4. Part A. If 40% of the total is 32, how much is the total? Right, well, if we use the same formula, part equals percent times total, we can replace in that equation what we have. We have 40 as the percent. Now, 40 divided by 100 is 0.4. So that percent as a decimal will be 0.4. We know the total is 32, and we know the percentage, and so we need to find the total. So we can write that 32 equals 0.4 times the total. So I could also have rearranged the formula to actually show you what that would be. So if I rearrange my formula over here, I can say that total equals part divided by percent. Part divided by percent. Since we have our part and our percent, that equation would have resulted in the same thing. We can say our total is 32 divided by 0.4. 32 divided by 0.4 is 80. So that the part is 32, but the total is 80. I'm going to rewrite all those different formulas. I can say part equals percent times total. Therefore, total equals part divided by percent. And percent equals part divided by total times 100%. Part B, if 20% of the total is 100, how much is the total? Similar to this last question, we first need to turn 20% into 0.2, because that is 20 divided by 100. And noting that the part is 100, we can say that the total will be 100 divided by 0.2. Which, if we divide those two, 100 divided by 0.2 is 500. Part C. 24 is what percent of 96? Well, using my reformulation over to the right, percent equals part divided by total times 100%. So the percent would be 24 divided by 96, because 24 is my part, 96 is my whole, times 100%. So 24 divided by 96 times 100 is 25, so that 25% is 20. The answer to 24 is what percent of 96? 25%. Part D. 18 is what percent of 45? It's very similar to the last question. So we'll take our part divided by our total, our part being 18, our total being 45, and then multiply that by 100%. 18 divided by 45 times 100 is 40. So the answer is 40%.